So this was October 29th, 2019, and I did that. So let's do it again. Plus my nails are still red, but I like her lip. I think that's really, really fun. This is just a little bit more classic. I'm excited. We're gonna use white foundation. Let's go. I was sent this, I don't even know how many times. I'm so excited that y'all wanted me to recreate this. So I've actually done Morticia before, and I'll show you, and I have a wig, we'll do that today. But I wanna do this because this even feels a little warmer than what I did. So mine was a little bit more authentic. This is almost Adele's version of it, of Morticia, and I love it. By the way, we're doing Anthony's look. I had no idea he was going to post that video and use those brushes, and I had already had this plan since Saturday when y'all started sending this to me. So that's so cool. So I want my brows to be a little bit darker. I actually used my Too Faced brow gel that I always use. That's what I have on them, but I want them darker. And then for fill in, I actually used this today, but only because it's a darker shade. I used the Anastasia brow pen. Apparently, RUNNOFT. Oh, here it is. And I used that one in dark brown, but I want them to be even darker. I was just looking because the hair is going to be absolutely black, the wig. So we're just going to take a little bit of black eyeshadow and just continue to fill them in just a little bit more. And this black eyeshadow used in small amounts will really make sure that the brow looks nice and cool as well. We're just using E26 for this. So a cold front came in last night to my part of town. I'm freezing. I'm embarrassed. I know it's not cold outside. I think it's 50. I don't want to hear it from my northern friends. I know this is barely your fall. I have lived in South Texas, more south than Houston. I live south of Houston. I've lived here my entire life. And I'm chilly. I'm cold. I got my jacket on. I really just want to be snuggling Gene and Douglas. Oh, well, I think he's in his bed. I'm going to go get in the bed with them over there. So we're going to use a white eyeshadow base. We want to make sure that we have a very blank canvas here. And this is going to make our eyeshadows very cool. Also, my birthday. It's November 1st. Ben's birthday's tomorrow. I'm very excited. I'm still going to do a tutorial tomorrow. Probably won't be a really long one. But we do have Rose and Ben beauty surprises coming your way. Our brand, tomorrow's the 2-year anniversary. What? It's wild. Time is flying. And, you know, we made it 2 years. And why did we make it 2 years? Because of you. And I love you so much. And I want to connect this. Now I have a mask. It is Halloween. But in all seriousness, thank you. I love y'all so much. I'm going to get a little emotional. This is a big deal. It's a big deal for us. And I just wanted to thank you really quickly. If you've ever used a palette and you've looked at it, right? You look at that palette and you go, hey, that is a cool tone. Example. Definitely a cool tone. Definitely a cool tone, right? And then you go to put it on your skin and somehow it turns into, I'm going to use this reference, MAC Soft Brown. Most of us know what that color looks like. It's very warm. This is going to prevent that. And if you're thinking, this is going to look terrible on me, eyeshadow base gets completely covered up. Completely. Even this is going to be covered up in a second, all the way out here. So don't be afraid of white eyeshadow base. It's not like trying to fix a foundation that's too light. Eyeshadow is super pigmented and it's going to go right on top, but what's going to happen is our cool tones, our neons, our pastel, everything is going to show up the way that it shows up in the pan. So we're using a super affordable palette. This is one of my favorite palettes of all time. So we're going to grab this shade right here and we're just going to lay that down through the upper crease. Let's just get that nice and set. And that's our first transition. We're going to take that all in here. Perfect. I'm going to add some more of it. But it's actually not that complex of an eye in terms of how many shadows. The shape can be a little intimidating. I'm going to walk you through it. But it's a very classic cut crease smoky situation. I must tap this some more. There we go. Now let's just wipe our brush off on Sheila. It cracks me up that we have a Sheila now. I love it. And then let's grab the white here. This has a little bit of sparkle. Look at how pigmented this color is. So good. Okay, now that's set. We're gonna add a little bit more of that same shade that we started with. Keep building that up a little bit. I just wiped my brush off. That's what I was doing. Grab this shade again. Kind of just do the same thing. Perfect. And there we go. I'll do the same thing on the other side. We definitely need to extend it out this way as well. So we'll start with our first transition. So this is probably one of the coolest things that has ever happened to me in my entire life. But Anthony, that's the artist that did the look that I'm recreating right now. But look, I don't know if y'all saw this. He uses our brushes, Rosamund Beauty's brushes on Ardell. That's the C41 right there. And I recreated this look. I think this was back in February. This is actually on her page, by the way. Still speechless over this. Now, we're grabbing this shade. We're gonna start our shading process. Let's grab it on the tip of the brush. That way we can just push it in here. It's so much easier. Perfect. It goes really far up into her brow. Love that. I'm gonna relax my eye. Shade it in there. Pick up some more of that same shade. Bring it over this way. I love how concrete this eye look is. It's so cool. Cool tone, I should say. It's cool looking too. Check back in on our progress here. So it looks like we're in the right realm. What we are gonna need to do is black eyeshadow. But you know what we're gonna do? I tell y'all this all the time. Even where I'm at in my makeup journey right now, I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush, more control with black eyeshadow. Okay, so now all we have to do is grab our brush that we've already used, just take the side of it, and we're just gonna tap it to lightly transition it into those first transitions we laid down. We're almost to the carving part. And then I have another trick I'm gonna show y'all, and that involves our actual contour shade. So get ready for that. It's gonna be so much fun, and it's gonna look just like the picture, and it's so cool, and it reminds me why I love makeup so much. Now let's carve out our lid here. We have some micellar water. I want the lid to stay pretty bright, so if I had left that black and gray on there, it might have gotten a little muddy, and that's not what I'm after. And this will just make sure it's really nice and sharp. And I'm just wiping my brush off on Sheila. Haven't picked up any more micellar water, and we're just gonna make sure that these match pretty closely. So let's grab the black eyeshadow. It's in the palette here. Mine is the Jean Bean here. Okay, we're good. So, whoop, wrong brush. Let's grab it on our E27. I'm gonna tilt my head back, and I'm just gonna start to push this into the socket. Now we want this to creep out a little bit, but we want the majority of it, look how cool that looks already. We want the majority of it to be focused in the socket, and this little brush is just gonna fit in there. Even if you're not sure where that is on your eye shape, a tiny brush like this is gonna help you feel that. It's also gonna keep control of that eyeshadow. And it's just gonna kind of do the work for you. Just do some nice pressing motions. Just keep tapping. Now that it's nice and clean, let's go back in with some eyeshadow base. So much easier to carve everything out with the micellar water and then go back in with this. If you've struggled with carving out your lid, please try the micellar water and then go back in with this. So much easier, so much easier. I forget that there might be new friends here joining us. And if you have lasted this long, I would like to thank you, because I know that right now this looks like an absolute makeup train wreck. But here in our stories, we trust the process. We do. I promise that obviously this look might not be for absolutely everyone. It's a very spooky season look, but there will be rhyme and reason once we're finished. So we're using the creamier shade. You can see the stark white here as opposed to the little bit more creamy situation. And we're really packing that onto the lid, not only for brightness, but whenever you use a really wet base, like the ones that I use, you really have to make sure that you're setting it. Swiping isn't gonna be enough. Plus it might actually cause patchiness. So take your time and really build that up, really press into it. Sometimes I'll even kind of just ever so lightly tug my eye and then press. And what I'm doing is I'm really getting into all of the natural creases on my eye. So I got another tip for you. Who knew? Me with a tip. So what we would normally reach for is an eye pencil, right? Any eye pencil. Well, knowing dry time on an eye pencil and how much time you have to blend it is difficult. It can be very difficult. We're gonna do, it's a partial wing. It's definitely a little bit of a wing, but it's very smoky. So that means that this is going to be so perfect for this situation. And if you happen to purchase this palette, the Patrick Ta matte one, that black base in there is going to also be perfect for this situation. But if you didn't want to spend a fortune on this just for some bases, although this is my favorite palette of the year, you get this. I think these are $8. So let's go ahead and grab some of it. Let's grab it on that E26. Do not worry about what I just did. It's going to be pretty smoky here. I could do this into the mirror, but I want to teach y'all. I've been doing my makeup into a phone for a long time now. Now the one tip we do need to do, and this needs to come up in here anyways. I'm gonna connect. But we do need to make sure that it's nice and even across the lid. All right, squiggle that over there. So now we're just taking a C31 and we're just kind of softening this over here. I'm going to do a trick with powder foundation. Okay, so get ready for that. And with our contour shade, there's going to be a lot of contouring. So get ready. Now let's go back in with our black eyeshadow. And just press that here. Nice. And then we'll take it on the center of the brush, okay? And then we're just gonna tap. That's enough to set it and smudge it. I might smudge it a little bit more. Oh, I'm gonna need everybody here watching this story to sign an NDA. That man's on his calls. Now we're gonna line top and bottom. Look how pigmented this is and how easily it goes on. This is incredible. It's going to be a little bit more spicy priced than drugstore, but not outlandish. And if you have contacts like I do, you want something that glides quickly, no matter who you are. But I will say, since I have started to wear contacts, this is it. It's from Melt Cosmetics. It's Slick Waterline. It is so good. I'm going to get y'all a link. And they have other colors. So if you're like, I don't really wear black, they have beautiful browns. This formula is just very special. And I really, really, really think you're gonna like it. Oh, and of course, if I'm gonna mention it, it dries down, it lasts perfectly. It's just fantastic. If I'm mentioning something, it does everything that we want it to do. Time to start cleaning this area up. I don't wanna take it up too high just yet, but I do wanna kind of get it looking a little less. So a little birdie told me that these are the lashes that Ardell wears. These are Ardell 811. They look like it, right? So let's get these off their little thing with my little lash applicators. I think I might barely need to trim them. Yep, that looks just like it. These look so perfect. I need to clamp them down a little bit more. Let's place this. Well, we can't start clamping until they're drier, or we risk snatching them right off of our eyes. So let them get a lot more tacky than this. Let them almost be completely dry. So obviously we're gonna make this much lighter, but this match right now is divine. L'Oreal True Match shade C5, 10 out of 10. Would recommend. The match is so good, but now I have to make it way lighter, and I'm gonna have to take my jacket off. If my teeth start chattering, forgive me. I'm being so dramatic. Now keep in mind, I've used these for years. They do not change the formula of your foundation, but Haus Labs does have a white foundation as well. I haven't tried it with other foundation formulas, but I have this, like I said, but this is another option, but it's also more spicy priced, but it's an option. So what I'm gonna recommend, LA Girl Mixing Pigments. So affordable. You can get them at Walgreens. If you ever wanna do this, lighten your foundation. Even if you wanna just lighten your foundation, we're going into winter. I'm gonna get so much more fair. I need this because I have expensive, spicy price foundations. And let me tell you, they're not just gonna sit here in the drawer. They need to be used. So I've talked about this so many times. I don't even know how many years that I have been using these and doing videos with these. They're still incredible. Now, you can go a different route, but this is the affordable route, and this is still the one that I would go. But because I am a collector, trier, makeup poker, I'm gonna show you another one. So let's do a little mix up. Like I said, I'm gonna use the LA Girl one. I just know it, I love it. I just wanna give y'all options always. I'm gonna use quite a bit of it, 4 pumps, okay? Half of a pump would be enough to start if you want to lighten your foundation. I don't want you to think that you need this much. This is for a costume. Okay, let's see where this takes us. I think we might still need more. Yeah, I think we might need to be lighter than that. Let's see. Okay, let's do it. Work that in. We'll use our C42 today. Of course, we're gonna take it down the neck and the ears. This is basically face paint at this point. But this is a spooky look. And then I'll just take my time and work it all the way down here. I'm pretty sure I have some cute little Morticia gloves somewhere too. I'll just let this run. It's fun to watch it blend. C42 is C42ing, y'all. Look how even. So for around my forehead, I don't know, the C42 is fitting around there pretty nicely. I thought I was gonna have to grab a different brush, but I think we're gonna be okay. I need a sip. I'm out of control. It's hair washing day. I'm gonna switch to the concealer brush and the travel set. And I'm just gonna take it here and here. I don't really need to go, I can go back around with the C42 around my brows, but in here, I definitely needed a smaller brush. And we'll just tap a little bit of this. So we're still gonna use some contour, and the contour is gonna look warmer compared to this, because this is true, but you're gonna see how I'm gonna use it, and it's going to be so melted and so beautiful. But I still need some more foundation on my forehead. And I'm trying to figure out concealer as well. I have white concealers, which I might use. We'll see where this ends up. Yeah, we're good with the C42 here. I can get that. Nice. So we're doing a mixture of this Haus Labs concealer, just a little bit of that. But we're also gonna be using a white concealer as well. This one's from LA Girl, so affordable. Ah, attacking me. That's one of the downsides. But let's go ahead and just highlight the center. A little bit of this goes a long way. It's a very pigmented concealer. And again, for something like this, I know that we don't want to invest a whole lot into these types of products. So LA Girl is so wonderful. The quality is there and it's so affordable. Yep, that's what I wanted. We can still brighten a little bit more with Stage White powder foundation. I will say one of the things I love that Anthony does with Adele's makeup is that warm bronzer. Now with this look, it's going to look even more extreme, obviously that contrast, but if you'll go and look at other looks that he's done on her, it is just this delicious warmth, and I just think it's incredible. Now listen, Adele's look has a ton of warmth. There's still going to be contour, there's still cooler contouring, but here on the higher points, like we always talk about here, there's so much warmth. So I'm using my Armani liquid bronzer, shade 100. Y'all tell me all the time that this is on sale on the Nordstrom website, that y'all can find it. So be on the lookout. And we're just working this in with our C40. I'm getting so excited because I'm starting to see it come together. This is so much fun. I'm so excited. And I didn't blend out the concealer yet, and I'm about to tell you why. So now we're gonna finish blending out the concealer. And the reason why is because you're just able to get the most seamless transition from that bronzer to the concealer, to the whiter concealer. And this is a good tip even when you're doing your regular foundation, but I will say there's less of this extreme white to bronzer contrast, so you don't have to worry quite as much, and that's one of the reasons I don't teach it all the time. But if you just want your makeup to be seamless, blend a little bit of your concealer out first, and then bronzer, and then go in back again with the foundation and the concealer and finish blending. It will be airbrushed. I can do an even more in-depth on that, and I think I should, because right now this literally just looks like completely airbrushed. Now, any excuse to use this, I try to find ways to incorporate this because it is so good and it is so much fun. I'm using it in the most extreme way, right? I'm using it for the stage right now. But I've done videos and it doesn't have to be just for the stage. It just depends on the tool that you use. I'm using a puff and you're gonna get the most extreme application with it. But if we were just lightly set not our concealer. Don't go directly on top of concealer. You don't want to ever set wet concealer with something that's too pink, too white. It's going to absorb just like an eyeshadow base. Have a video on that coming. Might post it tonight, actually. That all being said, is if you just dust a little bit on top of set concealer that has a nice base to it, your base to it, it can be very brightening and very smoothing. Now we need to grab powder foundation because you'll see that Adele's just looks just a touch more closer to her skin tone. It might be the lighting. I can't really tell quite as well, but I'm just gonna match this picture, and I have it on this side already, and you can see that it's very subtle, but it makes it look almost identical to the picture. And one thing about me is we're gonna match. We're gonna recreate that perfectly. So I'm taking this powder foundation, just a tiny amount on the side. Let's tap it across our lid. And if you do too much, not a big deal. We would just grab that exact same shade that we already used and then take a tiny amount and tap it through here. Just gonna blur, kind of bring it back. That's good. And then we can just kind of take it down the sides of the nose. And then now I'm gonna go get the contour. Black base again. We're gonna finish underneath here, underneath our lash line. It's definitely very smoky underneath here. Nice. Now I'm actually going to use just a little bit of MAC Give Me Sun. It's definitely warmer than what I normally do, but we are really trying to just emulate what Adele has going on there. And all I'm doing is I'm setting the bronzer and of course adding a little bit more depth to it. Jean, listen, I don't think our friends here want to hear all those noises. Nice. Now we're just going to press some black eyeshadow into this and we're going to set smudge this edge just a little bit. Look how brown my eyes look with all this black. All right, I have to figure out what to put in the center, but let's do a little bit of contouring and then I'm about to put the wig on. Where did my thing go? There it is, right in front of me. I'm just excited. I'm having a good time. So this is a wonderful contour shade. It's not too cool and it's not gonna be too warm, but it's gonna add a lot of depth. But we're just gonna focus it right here. It's definitely gonna be cooler. You can see that. It's much cooler than the MAC Give Me Sun. So let's kind of focus that there. We'll focus a little bit here. We're not gonna worry about there. And then I'm gonna take we'll grab our E29. Grab that on the center of the brush. And then we're just connecting it to the brow and then bringing it down the nose. I'm actually just gonna leave a little bit underneath there to bake. I'm gonna grab my Valentino liner and extend my waterline like Ardell has. And you can actually use your powder foundation to kind of tidy this up with the C30 if you would like. Look how nicely that works. I think we're getting somewhere. What we're gonna do is a little bit of black lip liner. Just a rough draft, as I like to say. This one's from NYX. Super affordable. Okay, it can look a mess. Okay, let's check our work. Obviously, we're still baking. Hers looks a little bit extremely bright right there too, so I think we're on the right track. We'll work that in just a second. I feel like we might need a little bit more bronzer. Do you like my fly hands? I think we'll just migrate our bronzer, that Give Me Sun. We're gonna migrate that up a little bit higher. Hers is really high. I just wanna make sure that we don't, and it's really far over to the lip too, but I don't think I like that on myself. I'm not Adele, y'all, I'm just Rose. Now we're gonna grab MAC Stone Lip Liner and we're gonna blend these two together. This will take several minutes. Let's dust off our bake. Okay, we have these. So fun. I think this Milani lipstick in the shade Tease is gonna be pretty spot on. So this wig is from Powder Room D, and we need to talk about it because I've had it since 2018. I did that look in 2019. I've had it forever and it looks so good. It's synthetic and look at how pretty and smooth it still looks. You can brush it. It never gets ratty. So good. This is our last spooky look for the season. I had fun. I feel like this is a really fun little spin. I would have done a red lip like I did previously, but this is so pretty. I love y'all so much. Tomorrow is Ben's birthday. And then again, mine's the next day. So I might actually take my birthday off. We'll see, but we might go do something. Tomorrow we have something coming from Rosamond Beauty. So just keep a lookout in your emails. Just go check those emails. I love you all so much. I don't know what I'm posting tonight, but I'll see you there in the comments.